everyone. It's another Slam Howdy podcast, and today we got Howdy back.
I'm back.
No more Jarvis P. Possum. He had butt piss, as we like to call it, so he could not join us today.
Yes.
The only sad part is Howdy doesn't really follow football.
Well, I'm happy the Eagles are there because they're like the only team in the NFL that I feel like I know enough about to potentially have a conversation. So we got that going for us at least.
Yeah, and everybody knows about the Chiefs from memes.
Oh yeah,
that's really all they're good for.
Oh yeah, trust me, I got a few close friends around who are longtime Chiefs fans, even before their current run and celebrity status as a team. But so yeah, I can take or leave the Chiefs. I don't hate them. I don't love them. They're kind of there, but like I said, I know people who've been fans for a long time, so at least I got people that I could kind of heckle depending on what the outcome of all this ends up being.
Well, as me and Mr. Possum, we did 2 weeks ago, the reviews of the playoffs.
You know what you're saying?
Yeah. We didn't get a chance to do the divisional round reviews, preview, whatever the hell you want to call it. Did you watch that at all? Any of them?
I believe that was one of the weekends where I primarily had to work, so I think I was able to catch 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but I definitely did not watch any full games.
All right, so I'll try to blast this off memory and fill that in as you can. So the Eagles played the Redskins. The Redskins did what I thought they would. They went rookie mode with Jaden Daniels, and he collapsed under the pressure. I feel they're a young team, and the Eagles punched them in the mouth.
Yeah, I was actually able to catch about half of that game, and the half that I caught was just kind of well, you know what? I thought that game was going to prove a little difficult for the Eagles just because, I don't know, Washington, I feel has a couple things in their repertoire that,
Oh, they do. They have a good team, but they're young.
But, as soon as the Eagles got a chance to kind of start running away with that game, they just kept running, and there was no resistance there to stop it from happening. So, considering Washington already had one win against Philly under their belt in the regular season, it's just kind of crazy that game ended up being such a runaway victory. But there's reasons that happened. It wasn't just because the Eagles took advantage of the opportunity, but that's just it. They had an opportunity.
And they did what they're good at, run the ball.
Yeah, that's the smart thing. And I would say that was actually one of the better performances the Eagles had this year as far as not just running the ball, but just managing it and doing a very good job of protecting the runner in situations. That side of the team definitely deserves some credit for that game because not only was his run routes really creative and very quality, but the rest of the team definitely held up their end of that deal too. That was definitely a team effort the entire way through. It was pretty awesome to see that.
They played them, and then I think Buffalo played the Ravens?
Yeah, that's right. I did not see much of that game.
No. Buffalo played the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Or did I skip a week?
I think you skipped a week.
That is my windows.
Yeah.
They're old and drafty.
It's very windy here today. But yeah, Buffalo did play.
They did play the Ravens. Yeah, and they won.
Yeah, I think we're going back a week on that one. Yeah. Even that game, I don't know enough about either of those teams to have even really predicted who was going to win that.
I thought Buffalo was going to win. I figured Lamar Jackson was going to do Lamar Jackson things and turn the ball over, which he did.
I know who he is. That's a player I know.
He runs a lot and throws the ball and screws up every free throw.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, though, he dropped a couple key passes. So it wasn't all Lamar's fault, but mostly Lamar's fault. Trying to think here. Kansas City played Houston, and Kansas City beat Houston, which everybody figured that was going to happen.
The Houston Oilers. That's who they beat.
They're not even connected, I don't think.
No, I don't think. I don't know.
No, it's the Oilers and the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
so anyway, the Eagles beat the Redskins, and then Buffalo played Kansas City, and that was actually a very good game. I didn't notice any shenaniganery as far as refs calling shit in the Chiefs' favor. There was one play where Josh Allen ran on a 4th and 1, I believe, and his body appeared to be over the first down marker. Where the ball was, you couldn't really see I thought it was a first down. The refs, obviously, to help Kansas City, did not. But other than that, I mean, it was a pretty straightforward game. There wasn't a lot of janky plays.
Kansas City, man, they got that celebrity status.
Status die.
Oh yeah,
Swifty Kelsey.
Yeah, man. You gotta let him get all the way in there. You can't go messing with the ratings.
Kermit the Frog is the quarterback.
Yeah. So
anyway, that brings us to the upcoming Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas Swifty Chiefs. Now, I don't know about you. See, he could play on his phone while we're trying to do something. Texting fingers over here. But
that was a potential spam call, which is pretty much all I get on my phone anymore. But that's the conversation for another time.
That's solid. So, based off you're not viewing, who do you think is going to win?
Honestly, even though I'm an Eagles fan, I feel like there's just so much hype around Kansas City right now that I just don't know if the Eagles will withhold under the pressure. And I don't necessarily mean the pressure of like being afraid of the Chiefs or anything like that, but like just the combination of obnoxious fans, the obnoxious media presence, like that's going to be like another opponent for the Eagles to deal with. And like I know the Chiefs are dealing with the same thing, but like I don't know, like it generally seems that like outside of diehard Eagles fans right now, the average person who like might watch football but doesn't have a favorite team or a favorite player, a lot of them just seem like they want to see the Chiefs win just because the Chiefs are like the in thing right now. And like
bandwagon.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, these guys are professionals. That stuff shouldn't be that big of a factor for them. But like the Chiefs right now is just like there's an obnoxious presence around that entire franchise right now. And, like,
I agree.
The Eagles are known for obnoxious fans, too, but we're used to that.
The Eagles fans are trash.
Yeah.
They're some of the worst fans.
Yeah. Philly sports fans in general are, like, very, very hit or miss. Like,
I'm an Eagles fan, too, but I'm a realistic Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Like, they have a good team. They can run the ball down your throat. Jalen Hurts can't pass. Under pressure, he cracks. He turns the ball over too much. So, like, the Eagles come out, run the ball down their throat, Saquon all day, they have a chance to win.
And that's what they got to do, though.
Even if the refs decide to play pack and,
honestly, I feel like running game would be a better situation to consider just because of the refs, too, because, I mean, there's ways the refs can have their way no matter what kind of offense you run, but I feel like it's
less chance pass interference and all that.
It's a little easier to screw somebody over when they're primarily running the ball. Like, you see a lot of very questionable like holding calls and stuff like that, but like you just said about the pass interference, that's where they get them a lot of the time. And if you can focus your offensive set up in like at least like a 50-50 between pass and run, you leave yourself a little bit more of a leeway from not having that issue. Like, I hate that we have to talk about referee corruption as if it's like a part of the strategy of the game, but at this point it kind of is.
I know.
And that's not just a football problem, because I see a lot of that going on in the NBA anymore too.
Well, the NFL, they're starting to flop like they do in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
The NBA.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, it was the Chiefs versus Bills. I think Patrick Mahomes ran the ball in for a touchdown. He got tackled by, I think, Damar Hamlin. And like, he threw him down a little hard. Like, no penalty or anything. Just football. And then Travis Kelce, like, got in his face. It was all like, talking shit.
Of course he
was.
Then,
they got separated, and then one of the D linemen from the Bills runs over and headbutts Kelce, which is hysterical. He needed that. But then you see him in the background, like, flopping. It's like, bro, you're a grown man. Like,
well, even though this is a Super Bowl podcast, on the same topic, just a quick aside is like, I totally get where you're coming from, because as a Sixers fan in the NBA, they haven't been playing Embiid recently just because he's basically a giant drama queen. And you know what? They've won 3 games in a row without him in there. Like, yeah, they lost games without him too, but he doesn't need to be the face of the franchise unless he can get his shit together. Like, that's really all there is to it.
The Chiefs can do that if they bench Kelce, because their backup, Noah Gray, perfectly fine. perfectly fine. And like since Kelsey got with Taylor Swift, like he lost a lot of his muscle tone. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like living that married life. Like he knows she's got all the money. I mean, he's eventually going to be a song about a broken up boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
It's just he's just not the same player.
No.
He cares more about stupid shit than football. He just needs to care about football. But I don't know. The Eagles can easily win. They can.
No matter how you cut it, the Super Bowl, at least for me personally, is always one of those things that, like, even at the points in my life when, like, I wasn't into sports, like, in any capacity, like, I still enjoyed watching the Super Bowl, and it wasn't just for, like, the whole cliche of, like, you watch it for the ads, because, like, these days that's not really relevant, because, like, everything's online. All those ads are online most of those ads are online before the game in one shape or another if you really wanted to see them. But, like, I don't know, just the entire experience of it, because, like, it's one of the few things that, like, in general, American culture, like, could kind of agree on for a day. Like, most people who are sort of in touch with, like, most of the, like, the more popular and mainstream social stuff, like, at least get together and be like, you know what? Let's watch a Super Bowl. Let's, like, you know, hang out and watch it. Like, even people who don't care about it, it's like something that kind of brings everybody together for a few hours.
And that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, you just hang out and bullshit.
Like, I've always watched it, and, like, you know, like, there was times when, like, nowadays I actually follow football a little more closely than I used to. Like, I got away from it for a while, but, yeah, like I said, Super Bowl's always a good time to watch. Like, it's an event. It's one of the few events that's, like, kind of just not necessarily, in my opinion, really hasn't lost its luster over the years. Like,
yeah, I wish the commercials were better.
I know.
The halftime shows, too. Who do they got doing the halftime?
This year's Kendrick Lamar. I actually don't mind Kendrick Lamar because, like, he's a step up from a lot of the mainstream rappers. Like, not all of his songs are just, like, nonsense, but, like,
mumble rapping.
Yeah, like, no, he has a lot of lyrics that are actually, like, pretty quality stuff. But I mean, in general, it's like, that's another tough one anymore, though, is because it's like, a lot of the people who, like, people really want to do these halftime shows, like a lot of the full-on legends that are out there, a lot of those people are just kind of, like, they've aged out. Like, not necessarily people don't care about them, but a lot of them just might not have it in them to give a rousing halftime, and that raises the whole other question of, like, who's taking who's filling those shoes now? Like, is it people like Kendrick Lamar, or is there, like, better options out there? Like, I feel like that could be a whole episode in itself, really.
Yeah, it could. But we don't need to delve too far into that, because I wanted to be country, and everybody shits on country, so, like, that's never going to happen.
Well, I think I laugh online is, like, I see a lot of, like, metal fans like myself being like, there needs to be a metal band that does the halftime show, and, like, what if you're being realistic, the only heavy metal band, no matter where you define that genre, that's actually big enough and culturally relevant enough to ever have a chance of doing the halftime show is probably Metallica. And I'm pretty sure they've been offered it before, or at least mentioned it. And, like, I don't know if they have an interest in doing it. And if they don't want to do it, I don't think there's, like, no matter how much of a metalhead you are, you just got to be realistic. Most people don't care about that. Like, Metallica is a household name for most average Americans. There's no other band under that umbrella that's even close to that. And if you're talking, like, more broad rock type stuff, I don't even know who I would suggest. Like, I would have said Foo Fighters, but then Dave Grohl had his whole controversy last year, like, with the whole having a whole kid out of wedlock and being like, yeah, I never told my wife about that. And just, like, exposing it in the media. Like, he's still kind of getting back into his routine from dealing with all that after being, like, good guy Dave. But, I mean, I don't know. People need to be realistic. Like, it's always going to, unfortunately, it's probably always going to be a pop artist or a hip-hop artist, unless it's, like, a living rock legend, like how they had Rolling Stones did at one time. But those guys are, like, 80 years old now. Like, they still play concerts, though.
Yeah,
so they're not out of the question.
Rather than.
But it's like, it's, like I said, that could be a whole episode in itself, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really watch the halftime show anyway. I mean, if it's a chick, like, yeah, you watch for the outfit. But other than that,
the only halftime shows I remember really enjoying growing up were, I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers did it one time, or at least they were the guest for somebody one time. Like, they came out. Whoever that was pretty good. I remember Prince not being bad just because it was nice to see somebody rip some guitar solos during the halftime show because you don't see much of that.
I did actually watch that one.
And then I believe I'd have to double check the year, but I want to say when I was maybe like 14 or so, the Rolling Stones did it, and I remember them being pretty good. I'm probably forgetting one or two in there because there have been some good ones.
Rolling Stones.
As far as the pop side of things goes, I didn't mind the year Bruno Mars did it. Like, he was actually pretty entertaining. I forget what year that was too, but you know, it's real hit or miss. I know that's like part of the spectacle of it all, but like for a lot of people, it's like a chance to go use the bathroom or go have a smoke or go make a phone call, and you know that's fair too. So it is what it is, man. However you want to cut it.
Yeah. So from a gambling aspect, who would you take to win in a gambling aspect? Because whatever I pick, people, if you are listening, go with the opposite. It just never works out.
Honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start with any of that because, like, even when I used to get myself in on these like Super Bowl pools that people do, which at least from what I seem to notice, doesn't quite seem like it's as huge as it used to be. Like, this is the first year in a long time where nobody asked me if I want to be part of a Super Bowl pool.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that because
I got no money on it, and I'm planning on putting anything.
Yeah, same here, man. I know people in the last few years who bet like people who bet thousands on the Super Bowl. Like I don't understand, man. I can understand, like, as somebody who has a lot of experience gambling, I couldn't see myself laying down more than maybe 50 to $60 per block on a Super Bowl pool. These people that ask me if I want to be part of one, then they're like, well, each block is $300 or $500. I'm like, no, I don't know enough.
$200.
I don't know enough about both of these teams to actually want to make a bet on that. Like, I don't know.
Well, like, the way my luck rolls is, though, I could bet $1,000 that Patrick Mahomes will throw for 1 yard, and on his way to the field, his brother will try like dubstepping some wonky TikTok shit and cause a car to crash into him, and he won't even play in the game, and I'll lose that $1,000 because that's just my luck.
You see, that's the kind of stuff that happens. People laugh, but
yeah, it could happen.
You know, it's like the guy who bets on the long shot at the horse race track, man. Like, there's gonna be that one race where the top ranked horse breaks its leg or something, and that last guy ends up winning, and this guy runs away with the whole paycheck, man. Like, it happens, but like that's why they call it the long shot. There's always a possibility.
Puncher's chance.
But yeah, like I said, man, I hope anybody that I know or anybody who watches this that has money on the game, I hope your bets help. I hope it helps you, man. Like, I hope you win.
I do too. And if anybody's watching that's thinking about betting on it, just don't do it.
Yeah, man.
Just don't do it. Like, gambling has definitely sucker punched me for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
You never
get ahead.
You could turn $100 into $1,000 once in a while, but you could turn $100 into zero every single time.
Yeah, real fast.
Oh yeah,
real fast. Well, that was our little PFA, I guess, during the Super Bowl conversation.
Let that be the moral of today's episode.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the main lesson about the Super Bowl is don't gamble money on it.
Right. Don't gamble money on anything.
Yeah.
But back to the Super Bowl. So we're thinking if the Eagles let Saquon cook and they go, the Eagles, they're going to win. If the Chiefs, they get their passing game going because they have some decent receivers, which I'm surprised that they haven't been better all year. Like, they'll smoke the Eagles.
Yep.
If the Eagles have to play from behind, Jalen Hurts actually has to play quarterback. Nope.
But the main thing for the Eagles is they can't be stubborn about their offense. They have to accept that they cannot primarily pass the ball in this game. They can't. The run worked last game. They should realize that and build the offense around that.
They're coming off, I think it was 7 rushing touchdowns, over 200 yards, and Washington's defense was not bad. And their offense was explosive.
The Eagles' defense deserves some credit, too, because even though Washington had all those turnovers going on, a couple of those fumbles were definitely forced by the defense. It wasn't just a matter of Washington just dropping the ball the entire time.
Eagles' defense is good. And, like, Kansas City just came off a game with the Bills where they won by only 3 points.
Yeah.
And the Bills' offense, they're pretty good. But the Bills' defense isn't that great. And their starting corner got hurt in, like, the first or second drive.
Mm-hmm.
and they still only won by 3. So, by those statistics, the Eagles should curb stomp them.
Oh, yeah.
However, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Her pancake bootay will be shaken up in that box. And the refs will be throwing flags all day.
She's the unsung star of the Chiefs' defense. Oh.
And they also want Mahomes to be greater than Tom Brady. I feel like that's another big thing they want to do. Because Tom Brady, phenomenal.
Now, don't get me wrong.
That jawline.
If Mahomes can keep up what he's doing right now, he'll go down as an all-time great. But, just constantly comparing quarterbacks to Tom Brady, comparing every decent NBA player to Michael Jordan, there's...
I get it, but, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that ever played.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no comparison.
Just because somebody's having a few good seasons doesn't make them Tom Brady. But, Mahomes should just focus on being Mahomes because he is good.
He is good, and I won't take that away from him. He is a good quarterback when you get away all.
How long has he been in the league for now?
5, 6.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
7 years?
I was thinking 6 or 7. I wasn't sure though.
He's been to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
Damn near every year.
But like I said,
Burrow beat him.
Somebody who's at that point in their career, who's in a prime right now, don't compare yourself or worry about people comparing you to anybody, man. You're doing your own thing. But like I said, the whole Tom Brady comparison is just kind of frustrating because, like I said, as an NBA fan, it's every time somebody has a couple good seasons, everyone's like, oh, well, they're the next Kobe or they're the next Jordan. I'm like, dude, no. They're a good player. They're not the next anybody.
It's almost like they're not even trying to compare him to Brady. It's like they want him to surpass him as fast as freaking possible.
Well, he's got a ways to go, even if that's ever going to happen anyway. And again, that's nothing away from him, but you don't just step in the league and be like, all right, that's the next Tom Brady. It just doesn't happen. You don't just throw that around that quick. You don't throw that at this point. You don't really throw that around to anybody who hasn't proven themselves for at least a solid decade first. I would agree. 6-7 years is. There's a lot of guys.
Another 5 years if he wins 2 more Super Bowls. All right.
There's a lot of guys who've put in a good 5, 6, 7 years and then fizzle out for whatever reason, whether it be injuries or just a loss of interest in the game. But you need a solid decade under your belt before you compare anybody to some of the greats. That's just how, and that applies to a lot of sports.
Yeah. And so, if the Eagles do happen to win, what do you think is going to happen to the city of Philly?
Well,
are they going to be greasing up the light poles?
Unfortunately, the way Philly reacts to sports wins, especially the Eagles' sports wins, is it doesn't matter if the Eagles win or lose the Super Bowl. There's still going to be a degree of chaos after the fact.
This is true.
All that's really going to change is
happy chaos or pissed off chaos, which could be a big.
People are going to be getting the aggression and the excitement out of their system, but is it going to be positive or negative? Is really what it's going to come down to. Unfortunately, I saw the news today about the 18-year-old that fell from the pole after celebrating the last game. Unfortunately, passed away now. I think.
That's actually very.
Yeah, I saw that a couple hours ago, and I mean that right there is an example of man. They won that game. People were excited, and
somebody died.
That's your team. That's your town. In the heat of the moment, you're like, I'm going to climb this light pole. I'm going to climb this light post. And
right. I'm going to throw these firecrackers at the police horse.
Of course, it's not a rational decision, but a good, you're excited. It happens, and it just goes to show you though, that thrill of the moment can totally change really fast. So I mean, again, if you're down that way to celebrate for the game, win or lose. Get it out of your system, but keep your wits about you too, man. I don't want to see anything happen to anybody like that. It's not good.
All right. Well, I don't want to go too long on time.
Yeah.
People, but as I always say, share, comment, get Swam Howdy around.
Yeah.
People need more straight white average male in their life. Just do us the favor. Just make us famous.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great. But then on that note, we're out.
Yes.
Skibbity turtleneck.
If nothing changes, we should be back next week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.